bit. I'm Janet, here with Jess.
Hi guys.
And we're here for another game review. So today we're going to be reviewing Life is Strange Before the Storm, Episode 1. So Life is Strange Before the Storm, published by Square Enix, developed by Deck 9, which is not the developer of the original game. So Before the Storm is the prequel to Life is Strange, which was an episodic visual novel that came out a few years ago. That one was published by Don't Nod, and the original game, Life is Strange, basically it followed like this girl named Max, and she was at this like art school / boarding school, and early in the game she discovers she has like this supernatural power, and the whole game is about you using that power, which was like to rewind time, to manipulate situations in order to advance in the story. And the story itself was based on the little dramas happening between the characters. So, you know, you're meeting up with your friend, this one drama happens, you're trying to figure out, like, what's the story behind this? What is this one character's intentions? Let's investigate. Oh, let's manipulate the situation by rewinding time and finding out what to say or how to get certain things in order to get whatever goal you had, and your goal changed depending on kind of what drama was happening.
Yeah,
kind of
I'd say the overarching drama, I think, was a couple of different things. Namely, the missing character, Rachel.
Yes, Rachel Amber.
And reconnecting with an old friend, Chloe.
Yeah, I would say that. And everything else just kind of spawned off of that. There was also, like, drama pretty early on with, what's his name again? The rich guy who was like
Nathan Prescott.
And
there's
like, what are the Prescotts up to, you know?
At the very beginning of the first episode, the's a giant tornado.
Yeah.
You have a premonition about. There's that too.
Yeah. So it's like,
I feel like you kind of forget.
You're like, what's happening? And so you're kind of going through life, but you're also like, what's happening?
Things to address.
Yeah.
In the game.
And so that's the original Life is Strange. This is a prequel, Before the Storm. The Storm, right? The Storm from the original game. So this one, you're playing as Chloe, before, like, Max even kind of reconnects with Chloe, which is the main character's best friend in the original game.
She's in Seattle during the sequel, I think.
So, you play as her, so it's a few years before, but still basically in high school, right? Like,
she's like a sophomore or freshman.
Yeah.
She's 16.
Yeah. And that's basically what Before the Storm is. And it doesn't have a supernatural mechanic. It has a different mechanic than the supernatural one.
Which we'll get into.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and do our review of Before the Storm. So we're going to go from presentation to narrative to gameplay, and then final thoughts. Am I missing one of them?
No, that's it.
I thought I was missing one.
There's
only four. So we'll jump into presentation, which is the visuals of the game, the music of the game, kind of the overall, like, packaging of how the game is presented to us. So as far as presentation of the game, I would say it's okay. I've been reading around about things people have thought about Before the Storm, and some people said it was, like, graphically worse. I'm not. I felt like it was fine.
It was on par with the first one.
I think if it was worse, it was negligibly worse. I did, however, hate the camera angle. It was way too close to the character.
No, that's the other thing, though, I wanted to mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's the exact same as it was in the first game.
No, it wasn't.
It is.
I watched, my roommate Maggie played the first game, and it is different. It is, like, farther back. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice it at all. So for me, it
drove
wasn't
me
an
crazy.
issue in the slightest.
Yeah, so,
it's like an over-the-shoulder third person.
It is over the shoulder, but, like, you're positioned, and this probably won't, maybe it'll look right on camera, I don't know, because it's all reflected and stuff, but you're kind of positioned, like, if you're Chloe, you're, like, over here, and the camera's, like, over here, but it's really close. It feels like it's trying to be first person, but doesn't want you to forget about the characters, so they're, like, super close third person, and I'm like, this hurts my eye. It was hard to see everything around, which I thought...
You know what the difference is? Mm-hmm. You have a huge TV. That's why.
No, because I watched it on the big TV of the original Life is Strange.
That's what I'm saying, though. I think that you're right that there's a difference. I'll believe you to that. But what I'm saying is the reason why it probably bothers you and not me is because my TV is pretty small. I'm agreeing with you that it's most likely true that the frame is tighter.
Okay.
On the new game. What I'm saying is it probably doesn't bother people with smaller TVs.
The point is, I thought the camera angle was too tight, which in a game like this is a big negative to me because it's all about looking around and seeing what objects you can interact with, and I felt like I'd have to, like, pan so much just to see anything, and I hated it. I got a little more used to it towards the end, but it drove me crazy at the start of the game. It was like, I'm like, why is it so close? Can I zoom out? And you can't. Anyway, so, okay, annoying camera angle for presentation. Music was fine. It was okay. I wasn't in love with it, but I wasn't...
It fits within the atmosphere of the Life is Strange games.
Yeah.
It's very alternative, sort of,
yeah.
you know.
They didn't have any, like, bangers like To All of You, but that's, like, my favorite song from the first game. The, like, light acoustic. I listened to that today.
They've had some, like, more... I guess one thing I would say about the music is they've had more from Chloe's point of view. Since it's from Chloe's point of view and not Max's point of view, the music, some of it has been more, like rock, you know? As opposed to, like, this, like, sort of atmospheric, you know, sort of
match
lyrical
the mood.
Yeah. So she, even at the very beginning of the episode, you're Chloe and you're going to this concert, and it's like a, you know, like a head-banging sort of rock band. And then also there's that, I don't know if you did this part, but the security guard on campus, did you listen to his EP?
I did not. That sounds fun, but I did not.
You didn't do it?
No, I didn't do a lot of things in this game because I hated this game and couldn't stand to be in the world.
Maybe you hated the game because you didn't do any of the things.
You know, the funny thing is, though, is I knew I was doing that, so I forced myself to do a few extra things, but I really didn't even want to, because I'm like, God, I don't want to interact with this, but I guess I'll do it, because, you know, it's the game, and maybe I'll discover something. But I discovered nothing but anger.
I thought the interaction with the security guard was really interesting, but he lets you listen to... This is like the most minor of spoilers, so it's not even worth unplugging your sound. But basically he's like, oh, I'm in a band. Do you want to hear it? And you can, like, tell him what you think of it. And it's like more... It's kind of in the same vein as the band you see at the beginning. So I thought that was really interesting. And you can listen to it for as long as you want. And that's one thing about presentation I do enjoy about Life is Strange, is sometimes you just have these moments where you can, like, sit down on a bench, or you're listening to this music, you know, and it's just sort of panning around the world, so you get to see it from a bunch of different angles, and it's just, you know, people kind of hanging out and doing their thing. Sometimes it's a little awkward, like at the beginning of the game when you're at the concert, she's, like, up on these rafters, and you're, like, laying down, and you're, like, kind of, like, headbanging. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she just looks awkward. She's, like, squirming on the floor, of the second floor of this concert. Yeah. I'm like, this is weird. It's, like, a little uncomfortable.
I think something presentation-wise, even the original Life is Strange, doesn't really get
human
quite
movement?
well. Yes, like, the way
they don't know how
bodies
humans move.
And even, like, the way faces look when they talk, it's, like,
it's
like, kind of talking like this, and it's, like...
How's it going, Chloe? Yeah, that's what it's like.
Yeah. It's, like, kind of weird, like, it'd be like, hey,
and they, like, tilt their heads
class today.
Yeah, that's Life is Strange.
Yeah.
For sure.
So they're not. So I think
Life is strange because we live amongst aliens. Like, that's what the movement.
I also didn't linger in that scene very long for the same reason, and it also I don't know. Maybe it was also, like, because it was, like, less of a relaxing moment in the game that I felt, like, less inclined to linger during the rock concert scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also was weird because she's just like, you know, it's like, what's going on? But
yeah. So I think that's my only real comments on presentation. It's what I expected, based on the original series. So
yeah, I'd say for me, it's other than how the camera was positioned, it was the same presentation as the other game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So narrative. Okay. So I can't decide if I want to go first or I want to let you go first, because I know what you think.
Why don't you at least start off with what do we have for narrative? Let's, like, start.
Okay, so we'll talk about. So this is let's talk a little bit about the plot of the game. So it's a little bit different than the original because you don't have the sort of the same like time bending abilities. So that affects how the narrative moves. And you're sort of And I think what's interesting about this narrative, too, is that you have the knowledge you have from the first Life is Strange. And so knowing what you know from the first Life is Strange, you're Chloe Price, you're 16 years old, your dad's been dead for 2 years, and there's this, like, new guy, David. Wait, that's his name, right? No.
Wait, the douchey stepdad?
Yeah, what's his name? Is it David?
It might be David, yeah. I don't know.
I don't like him.
Something really basic.
So the guy
I hate him still.
who you know him from the first game to be your future stepdad, but of course Chloe Price doesn't know that right now. He's kind of stepping in weird ways, and she's being really annoyed about it. She's like, what is he doing leaving his toolbox in her house and whatever? So you're dealing with that, like, stress at home, and you're kind of drifting after your father's death. It's been a couple years, but you're still having a hard time, not doing well at school. It's clear that you used to do well at school, be really into science, these kinds of things, and now you're, like, struggling. You don't have any friends because Max moved away. So just a note on that. it's addressed in the first game that Max is returning to Arcadia Bay to go to school at Blackwell Academy. And she had grown up there and been best friends with Chloe. At this point, Max is still away, and she's sort of cut off contact with Chloe for some reason. They haven't kept in touch, and so Chloe's lost her only friend. She's lost her dad, and then there's a really weird introduction of this chick, Rachel. What's her last name?
Amber.
Rachel Amber.
Like Amber Alert.
Amber Alert. I get it. Okay, so Rachel Amber. And she's supposed to be this really well-liked girl at school, and she takes an interest in Chloe. And so I'd say the first episode is all about this amazing day with Rachel Amber.
Yeah, I think that's a really good plot summary of what is going on with the game. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, so do you want to tell me what you think of it? Because I'll address it.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be hard to not dip into gameplay, but I'm going to try to keep it as far away from gameplay as possible.
We can touch on it and then get into it later.
So I jot down notes for reviews like this. So I put the first thing I wrote was ass, the narrative is ass. Then I put okay, and then I put wait, pacing. So what I mean by that is when I first started playing the game, I really had a visceral hatred for this game, and a layer of regret that I couldn't shake for, I still can't shake, honestly. I'm a little more, sitting better with me now that I finished it, but I'm also man, nah. So when I first started playing the game, the thing that really turned me off to the narrative is, so a quick context on Life is Strange, the original one, it also had problems with dialogue and writing, for sure. There were definitely moments of
huge.
Ooh, why'd you write that like that?
Yeah.
But, that kind of the cringy dialogue picks up in the episodes of Life is Strange, the original. I noticed, especially now that I'm rewatching a playthrough of episode 1, I'm like, oh, this is not even hokey at all, other than unless you get annoyed by the phrase hella, but
it's incredibly hokey.
Other than that,
okay.
not
Let's talk about it.
To me, not the first episode. I just rewatched it and I'm like, oh, okay. It starts off way less cheesy than it gets. It does take it there, and it is archetypal. But this one's let's crank that up to the maximum ability. It feels like the developers of this game took the worst parts of the first game and said, this is what people like about this franchise, so we're gonna crank it up. So by that, it's it's the franchise has teen angst. I'm gonna be really self-aware of the teen angst. I'm gonna be so self-aware of the teen angst that when Chloe's getting dressed, she says, how can I express my teen angst today?
That was pretty bad.
I'm gonna be so into Chloe being a badass that I'm literally just gonna say, these outlandish comments as Chloe, or I'm gonna try to, smack talk a biker guy because I'm Chloe Price and I'm edgy. Or it's just, it just took, the worst parts of the game and, that was the whole game. So, I was really, turned off by that narrative. I was interested, though, I do like how when you're playing the game, you're thinking of the information you already know. I think that's fascinating, and it added more weight to everything I did in the game. I'm like, oh, that's Rachel. I know Rachel. Or, oh, that's Nathan. Oh, that's Nathan's binder. Oh, I wonder what's in that binder.
What the hell's in that binder? Yeah,
exactly, and it's oh, okay. So it did have some interesting weight there. But, yeah, and I felt playing... Max in the original game definitely wasn't a good person either, but playing as Chloe also felt really weird in the sense that, especially early on in the game, when it's a lot of, let me steal this thing, because why not? Let me do this thing.
You don't have to choose to do that. You don't. I didn't steal anything.
And I didn't either, but I think actually I might have stolen the concert shirt, because I didn't have anything else to do in the game. I was like, whatever. And then, just the level of, especially that early on in the first episode. I know Chloe's dad is dead, and it weighs on her a lot, but early on in the episode, they did a horrible job writing that. It was literally invading her every single thought in a way that, I haven't lost anyone like that.
In a way that made me think that it happened much more recently.
Exactly. And I'm also trying to be sensitive to the fact that, I don't really know what that's like to, lose someone to that capacity, but can it be written more, later on in the episode, I feel like it was a lot more nuanced, her emotions towards her father. She would still bring it up, but it wouldn't be weird. In the game, it was literally just guess I'll finish my coffee. My dad always left a little bit in the pot. All right, gonna get my shoes on. My dad had an amazing sneaker collection. All right, gonna jot down those notes. Dad always hated note-taking. It's why are you mentioning your dad every single thing you do? Guess I'll brush my teeth. Just something about your dad, every 2 seconds. And it was just Yeah, it was just the whole thing was so hyperbolic. And the first game definitely gets on that level, and if you're really, like, not into drama, you're not gonna like the game, because it is a little hokey. But this game's, like, nothing but Hulk. Especially early on. Especially early on, and I really, really hated that.
To say that especially early on, but still later, I think is untrue. I think it's only hokey early on, and it's not that hokey later at all.
Maybe. So I would say...
I think there's a reason for it being so hokey, which I'll...
Up until, yeah, maybe it's trying to show, like, her... I just don't like it. Up until we, like, when we, like, hang out with Rachel the next day after the concert, then the story gets
That's the majority of the game. The beginning...
but it's the beginning's so bad. It's so
bad.
No,
it's fine. You can get through it. I'd say, okay, this is my thoughts on the narrative.
Don't get
the beginning is just as bad as the majority of Life is Strange, the original. Max is a horrible protagonist to play as. She's so annoying, I just want to kick her in the head, to be honest, in the original game. And the archetypal characters I can't get over because they're really obnoxious in the original game. Now, in the prequel, I think there's a couple of things, there are a couple of reasons why it's working like it does. To be clear, I don't love this narrative. I'm just going to play devil's advocate and defend it to the best of my ability. Chloe Price is already really angsty in the first one. When she's 18, she's 2 years younger at this point. She's 16 years old. She's got a new person trying to take her dad's place. Her mom's really crappy, actually.
Really?
Yeah, her mom's horrible. Mm-hmm. Why? Her mom does. I
think she doesn't. No, I know we're like past that already, but
no. I think that her mom does not address fully the weight of what Chloe's dealing with. She kind of slides over it. She's like, well, there's gonna be consequences if you don't come home on time. Be a mom. You know what I mean? Like, she's not a good character. She's not very fair to Chloe. She's always just like kind of halfway getting on her case, but then also not ever doing anything about it.
I will say she needs to more fully get on Chloe's case.
Not even just get on her case, but like be there for her. She just doesn't want to deal with her.
She's like doing stuff, man. I don't know. And she lost her husband. I don't know.
No, yeah. You can lose your husband. All I'm saying is I don't think she's very fair to Chloe. It's not all everyone. I don't think Chloe's
fair to her mom at all. But
depends on how you play the game. I would say that because I don't know how you played the game, but this is how I addressed the game from the very beginning. I thought from the very beginning, Chloe is depressing me because she's horrible. And so I thought, I'm going to play the game and make Chloe the best person I can make Chloe. That is how I approached the game. And I found it very, very rewarding. I tried to always pick the kindest option with my mother. I was consistently a jerk to David, to be honest, because I don't like him.
He's not a good person.
He's horrible. He's really
horrible. I wasn't consistently a jerk to him, though, but I took a couple shots.
But then... I think when that really started to turn around for me, I'd say the first part of the game is really rough because it's really angsty, but I think they actually captured how 16-year-olds behave. I only say this because, and I don't mean, so to be clear, I'm not meaning this as like an insult to my little sister. My little sister is 16. She's 16 years old. My little sister is 16-year-old. She has the same haircut, actually, also. So she actually looks almost exactly like Chloe Price. She has the same color hair and everything, and they like a similar build. Emily's a much better person than Chloe is. Yeah. But, so much better person, much cooler, much more put together. But I do think that there's a certain level of, like, we forget what it's like to be a 16-year-old. And some of this is what it's like to be a 16-year-old. And...
Maybe. But it doesn't make for a good game.
Right.
I don't want to play that.
But I would say what the redeeming quality of this game in the narrative is that I hate being Chloe because she's angsty and it's horrible to be her, which is probably how a lot of 16-year-olds feel.
She's like literally a jerk.
Okay, you control Chloe.
Sometimes your two options are be a jerk or be a lighter jerk.
You gotta let me get my point out because I can't get through it. Okay, so the redeeming quality is that while Chloe is not enjoyable to play as and doesn't seem like she enjoys being herself at all in the first part, the introduction of Rachel Amber makes Chloe a much more likable person, which I think is a very interesting and nuanced way to use a character. I would also say that Rachel Amber is by far the least archetypal character in the entire game series, all of the episodes of any...
I'd agree.
She's very interesting. She's very weird. She's also really angsty, because you can't not be angsty in this game, but she's a very complex character, I would say. And she makes Chloe a lot more complex. The complete shift in how Chloe behaves around Rachel, I think, is very indicative of a 16-year-old. because they're trying to figure out who they are and how they act. And so when you're at home with mom, who's like bringing in her boyfriend you don't like, yeah, you're gonna put on your biggest, like mean face. And then when you're at school with this girl, you might maybe like a little bit, you're gonna be, she's so much like seeing that switch was really dramatic, and I thought in a good way, because she went from being like, yeah, I'm so tough, I'm gonna tell off bikers, to, oh my god, I don't know what to say. And that's a really interesting shift, and I thought that was a good way to go with the story. I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I think the story did get better once you hung out with Rachel, for sure, and that was a good chunk of the game. It maybe depends on how quickly you play through certain parts of it, also, because that part of the pacing is somewhat in your control. It depends on how long you take with things. It took me forever to like get past to even get into where the concert was, which is maybe my own fault, but I was like, what do I have to do here? I was also learning the game mechanic, which they introduced in that scene, which we'll talk about next for gameplay. But, yeah, so I wrote, so that's why it kind of follows my notes, right? I'm like, I really hate that first part. Then you're hanging out with Rachel. You very light spoilers. You did school and hang out. That's just a thing that happens. And then I was like, yeah, okay. But once I got farther along, because when you had to the two truths and a lie thing, I'm just like, icebreakers. But okay. But I was like,
that was cute.
Icebreakers. I had to do that at work, literally. I was the same day. Literally, I was this is literally what I'm doing tomorrow.
I know.
So,
okay.
That's some people like those things. But then, and I grew to, I liked Rachel, and I was like, all right, yeah, this is, I get to have, these interactions with Rachel, and I'm, invested in my relationship with Rachel. It's probably the only relationship in the game that I care about, really, as a player, which is fine, because that's, that's kind of how the game is angled. But then, by the time I got towards the end, I was like, hold on, this is paced very weirdly to me. I just feel like the whether it's romance or friendship, because you kind of get the choice to play it however you want to, based on the things you say.
How did you play?
I played romance, of course.
Me too!
Hello.
Okay,
of course,
good.
immediately.
Okay.
I was like, I'm going to hook up with Rachel Amber right now.
I know, every option is just flirt, don't flirt. I'm like, flirt, let's go.
Yeah,
flirt.
Man, I was definitely getting with Rachel. But
doing my best.
I was like, it's kind of weird, because the way they pitch the story is that, which is the problem in a lot of games.
I guess I didn't hear much about the pitch, so maybe, yeah.
The way they kind of the way the way the story had its arc was that it's I don't really know Rachel, but I see her at I don't know her that well. I know of her. She's in my class or grade or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we didn't really hang out until that moment at the concert. So it kind of just goes from that to really intense, which I guess can happen. But it just felt,
especially when you're that young. Yeah,
I guess so. It just didn't feel. I wish they paced it out a little bit more slowly. I would have wanted to see their relationship build a little bit more. And I know there are more episodes, and it's not like they're married right now or something. But it just felt like by the time I got to the end, I'm like, this is kind of a lot for where we were at. I just wish it was paced a little bit more slowly for the romance or friendship or whatever it was.
I think part of that has to do with how you. Again, I know I'm harping a lot on how you play the game, but I think the entire experience of this game, make or break, is how you play it, because it's a choice-based game, and in a different way than a lot of choice-based games. I think that the pacing, realistically, when you think about it as one day, that seems like a lot. But I think if you marathon the game, that will affect how the pacing feels to you. And I think also if you don't do all the stuff in between, that it'll feel a lot faster to you. Because I know for me, it did not feel that fast. But I stopped and did everything along the way. I did every little thing. I talked to everybody.
I wish I knew my time on it, actually. I don't know. It doesn't say.
I don't know. Yeah. But I think also another thing that was, I would say to anyone who's trying to get the best experience out of this game, absolutely, for sure, talk to everybody in the school when you first get there. Don't just rush into the school. Talk around to everybody. I actually really enjoyed a lot of the experiences. I think that really humanized Chloe, because, again, I was trying to be the nicest Chloe I could be, and trying to connect with people in her awkward way, and seeing how she has difficulty with connecting people, but also has a kindness about her, is something that I noticed the way I was playing. Just the way the dialogue worked, and her mannerisms, things like that were very interesting to see. You had to play a little bit of D&D before.
That scene was very good, even though I don't understand what was going on, but I appreciated it.
I've played a little bit of D&D, and I thought that was really fun and interestingly done. That's not exactly the way that I've played that style, or I thought it was cool. She had the little pawns that she'd put down. And it's oh, there's actually a troll here. I'm I don't have those little pieces. And also how you did you stay for the whole game?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah. So I think also like how you interact with that guy, Mikey. I think it is his name. You know, that's really interesting. And I think the best way to play the game is to take the time to humanize Chloe, because otherwise she's horrible to play as.
Yes. She is horrible to play as. But
unless you take the time to develop her.
So here's the thing. The reason I didn't take more time is because I was just so put off by that opening scene. And that kind of gets... Should we jump to gameplay again?
Yeah, let's jump to gameplay.
That, to me, really, the crux of it is the gameplay. Because really, and it's funny because before we started recording, you were like, oh, I find it interesting that, like, how can you hate this game but like the other game? They're like the same game.
So is it just a gameplay for you? Because I thought it was more of a narrative issue.
It's very heavily the gameplay.
Okay, that's fair.
But the funny thing about the gameplay is which I guess is true for the first Life is Strange, ties into the narrative, because it's a narrative-driven game. The gameplay made me hate this game on a level that I've never felt towards any game.
Part of it was presentation, I think, because they called the mechanic backtalk.
I would have disliked it either way,
I think I have a way of that I would have spinned it. It was basically, it's like, you know, this, like, so I won't let, you know, Chloe into the club, and so Chloe's gonna, like, talk me down and be all sassy, and you have to, like, push, like, what you want to say next, but it
was
doesn't...
times.
But I feel like no matter what you say, I feel like it succeeds.
I'm not sure.
No.
Did you ever fail?
I did fail when I was trying to help Nathan Prescott. Not sure why I was trying to help Nathan Prescott. I was a little glad that I didn't succeed.
Oh, I succeeded, but... Looking back, I don't even know why I intervened. I'm just like, it's something to do. Why not? Maybe it'll help me later. Yeah, it's the mechanic. It is the mechanic. Though the early parts of the game were pretty rough narratively, but the mechanic really killed me.
I would say the thing about the mechanic is what the cringe factor for me is the backtalk and how all of it has to be like, I'm going to use my attitude as my superpower. That's weird. I don't like that. I do think that persuasion is a classic game mechanic that would have fit perfectly well into this like set, and it wouldn't always have to be so aggressive. Persuasion can take a lot of different routes. Plus, then it gives you more choice factor. You want to be someone who's persuasive by being a jerk, you can go this way, or you want to be someone who's persuasive by being sort of sort of quick and witty, you can go this way. You see what I'm saying? Like, that could have been much better, I thought.
Yeah, to kind of backtrack, just to also clarify for people in case they're not sure, because I think we did a decent job explaining it, but just to kind of zoom out and like zoom out most of the camera needed to, and kind of explain what it was. So the mechanic is, and I guess also put in context of the first game. In the first game, your whole mechanic was you can have these interactions and you can rewind time. Sometimes when you rewound time, you would get like extra dialogue choices, or you could like rewind, find something, and then like go back. So what I mean by this is,
and things like
let's say I know, I'm trying to, like, get on Jess's good side, and I want to find out more things about her. So maybe I talk to her, and then I mess up, I rewind. Maybe I look around the room, and I notice that, she really likes Fallout, and I bring up, like, hey, did you ever play Fallout Shelter? No, but it's interesting. And then suddenly we're cool. That's not exactly that simplistic, but it's, like, stuff like that in the first game. In the prequel, Before the Storm, it functions similarly, but instead of rewinding time, you just talk smack to people. And the thing that really bothers me about this, a couple things. So you're like engaged with someone, and you'll have like two options, and like one of them has like a little like icon above it, and that's going to be like the backtalk one, like triggering the backtalk scenario. And you have to select insults. Like you have an option, you have like 3 insult options, I think 3. And then if you get it right, it like fills a circle, and if you fill out circles, you like win the interaction, and it's timed. And they teach you how to use it by, to the game, the most effective backtalk is talk that mirrors what the other person said. So it's like if you made the worst parts of the TV show Wild 'N Out into a game, basically. And that's horrible to me. So, and also all the insults are really, granted, I know she's young,
but
they're really immature, mean,
sometimes
or sexist and weird. So it'd be like
when she insulted the guy's like traditional,
like Hawaiian. Like, so like the first encounter of the backtalk mechanic is you're trying to smack talk this bouncer into letting you into this concert that you're underage for. First of all, I know it's a game, suspension of disbelief, but that ain't never gonna work in real life. Like, you're just gonna get sent home. You know what I mean? Like, they could have gone about that a way that felt more true.
Yeah.
Any other way would have felt more true.
Your spunk is amusing. I'll let you in.
Even though... No, he didn't even let her in because the spunk was amusing. He let her in because she was like... I was like, my boss says I can't let people in. screw the man, be your own boss. I guess you're right, Chloe. I'm like, what kind of...
I didn't do that.
I was like, oh, what is that? Anyway. So
it's
and all the
it's
instances
dumb.
were just really hokey and extremely, the first game was pretty white. This game was very white.
Yeah,
in its
that's
insults.
true. No, absolutely.
I honestly literally picked the whitest option for them. That is how I made my choices, and it always worked.
Man.
So that's, I would say, the number one reason, more than narrative, because I think the relationship with Rachel was intriguing and I was into it. But the amount of angst before you meet Rachel, which is maybe meant for the shift, that's fair, but the amount of angst combined with that gameplay made me hate the game so much that honestly I don't think it ever has a chance of redeeming itself because the mechanic is so displeasing to me, and that turns me off from exploring the world, because I honestly, while playing the game, I'm like, I just don't want to encounter this mechanic again because I hate it and I know I need it to progress, and I don't have fun playing it because I have no interest in the mechanic.
I would say
plus the mechanic, it turns me off.
Maybe the reason why I don't, so I'll get into this, I guess. Maybe we can move to like final thoughts a little bit, because I have some connecting thoughts on this. But I think maybe the reason why I don't hate the game as much as you, or I don't know why you hate it so much more than I do, because I agree with you on a number of things. But I think that I played it more as as a narrative experience. I wasn't so concerned with the gameplay, partly because what interested me in the original Life is Strange was the gameplay. That's why I picked it up. I was like, ooh, you can rewind time. That's cool. And I saw the trailer. For this one, I already knew there was no time rewind. I was like, that's weird and dumb. So I really wasn't expecting like a crazy, mechanic. I was annoyed by this mechanic, but it hardly ever comes up. I think it happened like 3 times in the first episode, and I was more interested in the narrative progression. So I think for me, it was like a C+. Okay. Because I didn't hate the narrative. The gameplay's not good.
Oh, we're giving letters? Hold on. Oh my God.
We're not gonna like, I'm not gonna like fight you on whether or not this gameplay is bad. It's bad. It's bad gameplay. I do still think if you had made it into like a persuasion skill test, that's classic. You can't go wrong there. That's basically what you're doing. You're just calling it backtalk because you're lame. Like, that's what it was. And
you're timing it.
I do think that, I don't know, I just think there's a lot of ways they could have done this better. But I do like getting to know Rachel Amber a little bit more. I think that there's some very complex relationship dynamics going on, and that is reflected in Life is Strange, the original, game. So, I don't know, I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed it just about as much as I did Life is Strange, the original. There was less like crazy, like, what moments, the Life is Strange.
But we haven't played all of it. Maybe it gets crazier. It's crazy, it's just setting it up.
But Life is Strange, the original, there was a lot of like, whoa, moments.
Yeah,
like
I guess even in the first episode, maybe, yeah.
But I don't mind that so much with this one. I don't know. I guess maybe also my expectations were low going in. So I know that you enjoyed the first game a bit. You said, I remember we talked about this earlier, and you said, yeah, you thought it was a good game. I didn't think it was that good a game. So maybe my the difference between what I got and my expectations was lower, so I'm like less angered by it. That might be it. I don't know. I wasn't expecting a good game, so I'm like, this is fine.
Yeah, I would say expectations wise, I was expecting a decent experience. I didn't think it'd be maybe as good as Life is Strange, the original. But I was like, cool. We can what I liked about the original Life is Strange was obviously the rewind mechanic was really fun, but also I liked looking around and experiencing the world. And I guess so. My final thoughts on Before the Storm is I don't like it. I don't recommend it. I guess if I had to give it a letter grade, I'd give it probably like a D, like a high D, maybe, or a mid. I don't know. Actually, I'd give it. I don't know. I don't want to give it an F. I feel like that's like it didn't work.
You don't even have to give it a grade.
I'd give it.
If you don't.
No, it's actually it's pretty low. It's like a D if I'm being nice. And maybe like lower.
What do you give? Okay, out of curiosity, what do you give the original game?
Oh, I would give it a. It's hard to say. Like for me, it probably is like more like a high B or a low A. But if I'm being more in terms of recommending it, I would give it like a B. I think. Because I think with the original game, I think it's good, but I do have a good amount of asterisks to it, and I don't think it's the kind of game where it's a universally appreciated or valued game, and not like in an underrated type way, just like, I can see why someone wouldn't like this. and I wouldn't really fight them on it if it was for the reasons that I see are the flaws in it.
For comparison, I would give the original game Life is Strange a C+. So
that's fair, because that's not too far from where I am.
Right. Well, no, a C+ is very different than a low A or a high B.
I'd give it like a B, like a solid B.
Okay, well, I would give it a C+, and I would give this game either a C or a C+.
Yeah, I'd rate this
so
way
they're
lower.
about the same.
Yeah. But I'm getting caught up in abstract letters. So my takeaways are, I don't recommend it personally. For me, like I said, the gameplay was so cringy and unappealing because it was driven by really, really poorly written and kind of offensive dialogue that it turned me off from exploring the world. Even though, as you said, it doesn't come up as often. Just this whole, it just really made Chloe not fun to play as and made the game not fun to play, which made me not want to be involved in the game anymore. Which also, in turn, probably did affect my playthrough of it and thus my enjoyment of it. So it just kind of continuously felt bad until it was over. And by the time it was over, it definitely did get better. But it just kind of fell flat to me. And my last thing I kind of want to say is I felt like Before the Storm was the game that people that haven't played Life is Strange think Life is Strange is, which is to say it's angsty, it's hokey, and it's kind of bad in a way that's just legitimately bad.
But what's interesting is I think that's what Life is Strange is.
Yeah, I know. That is funny. But
I think it's hokey. So yeah. It's poorly constructed. It's kind of bad.
Maybe if you liked Life is Strange, if you
liked Life is Strange for the narrative and the characters, you will likely enjoy Before the Storm. I think if you were mostly in Life is Strange for the gameplay mechanics, you will be disappointed by this game.
Yeah.
That's my synopsis. I wouldn't recommend it simply because I wouldn't necessarily recommend the first one. Unless someone was like, what's a choice-based game that's highly narratively driven? I'd be like, oh, I guess you play Life is Strange.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm alone because I've looked online. Everyone's like, this game is so great. It's like,
no, it's not great.
I think it's awful.
Be clear, this game is not great. Bottom line. It's
I
not
want
a great
my
game.
$20 back. Are you playing the other episodes? Are we playing the other episodes?
I probably will play them. I already bought them. I should have just bought the first episode.
Or do we have to review the episodes?
No.
Okay, if we don't have to review the episodes, I don't think I'm going to play them. I bought the deluxe edition. I don't want it.
What do you mean you're not going to get your money's worth of a bad time?
No, thank you. So let us know in the comments or on social media what you guys were thinking for Before the Storm. Just what your thoughts are on it, on the story, the gameplay.
Because we're obviously
mechanics,
a little
all
split.
that.
All right. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
Be sure to hit thumbs up on this video and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below, or you can hit us up on social media.
We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest at bItbybIt Gaming, and we are on Facebook at bItbybIt Gamers.
And you can check out our official website, bItbybItGamers.com, for the occasional blog post and exclusive content.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.